The story begins with a moment that changes the woman's life forever. She had believed that her marriage was built on trust, love, and loyalty. For many years, she lived her life believing that her husband was her partner in every sense. They shared a home, dreams for the future, and the responsibility of raising their child. She trusted him deeply and believed that the bond between them was strong. But one day, everything she believed in was suddenly broken. She discovers that her husband has been unfaithful to her. The news comes like a sudden storm that destroys everything in its path. Her heart feels heavy, her mind is confused, and her world feels like it is falling apart. At first, she cannot believe what she has learned. She keeps thinking that maybe there has been some kind of mistake. She asks herself many questions. How could this happen? Why would the person she trusted the most hurt her in this way? She replays many memories in her mind, trying to understand if there were signs that she did not notice before. Every memory now feels different. Moments that once felt happy now feel painful because she wonders if he was lying even during those times. The betrayal shakes her deeply because it is not only about the act of cheating, it is about broken trust, broken promises, and the feeling that the person she loved most did not respect her or their family. When the truth becomes impossible to deny, the pain becomes even stronger. Her heart feels like it has been broken into many pieces. She feels sadness, anger, confusion, and disappointment all at the same time. She had built her life around her family and her marriage, believing that they would always support each other. Now she feels alone, as if the ground beneath her feet has disappeared. It is difficult for her to sleep, difficult for her to eat, and even difficult for her to think clearly. The betrayal has not only hurt her emotionally, but has also shaken her confidence in herself and in the future. In many situations like this, people expect the person who has been betrayed to completely fall apart. Friends, relatives, and even society sometimes assume that her life will become miserable and hopeless. They imagine that she will remain trapped in sadness and pain forever. Some people even blame the woman unfairly, asking questions about what she may have done wrong in the marriage. These kinds of reactions make the situation even harder. Instead of receiving comfort and understanding, she often feels judged or ignored. The support she needs the most is not always there. What makes the situation even more painful is that she must also think about her child. As a mother, she wants to protect her child from the emotional storm happening in their home. She worries about how this betrayal will affect the child's future. She worries about the kind of environment her child will grow up in. Even while her own heart is broken, she still tries to stay strong for her child. She knows that the child depends on her for love, safety, and stability. This responsibility gives her both fear and strength at the same time. In the beginning, the woman feels lost. Her life no longer looks the way she imagined it would. The future she once planned with her husband now seems uncertain and unclear. She may wonder if she should forgive him or leave him. She may question whether the marriage can ever be repaired, or if the trust has been destroyed forever. These questions stay in her mind day and night. It is not easy to make decisions when emotions are so intense. However, as time slowly passes, something begins to change inside her. At first, the change is very small. It begins with a simple realization. She cannot control what her husband did, but she can decide how she will respond. This thought becomes the first step toward rebuilding her life. Instead of seeing herself only as a victim of betrayal, she begins to think about the kind of life she wants for herself and her child. This realization does not remove the pain immediately. Healing from betrayal takes time. Some days she feels strong and hopeful, while other days she feels sad and tired. But the important thing is that she starts to look forward instead of only looking back. She begins to think about her independence, her abilities, and her dreams. She realizes that her life does not have to end because of someone else's mistake. The betrayal that once felt like the end of everything slowly begins to look like a turning point. It forces her to reflect deeply on her life and her values. She asks herself important questions. What kind of future do I want? What kind of example do I want to set for my child? What kind of person do I want to become? These questions help her discover strength inside herself that she did not realize she had before. Many people who experience betrayal feel that they have lost their identity. For years, the woman may have seen herself mainly as a wife and mother, but now she begins to rediscover other parts of herself. She remembers her talents, her interests, and her goals that may have been forgotten during the years of marriage. She begins to understand that she is more than just someone's wife. She is a strong individual with her own voice and her own path. The responsibility of raising her child becomes one of her biggest motivations. She wants her child to grow up seeing courage instead of defeat. She wants her child to learn that difficult situations in life can be faced with strength and determination. Even though she is hurting, she chooses to move forward step by step. Every small decision she makes becomes part of rebuilding her life. She may start by focusing on practical matters. She may look for work, continue her education, or find ways to support herself and her child independently. At first, these steps may feel overwhelming, but with each small success, her confidence begins to grow. She realizes that she is capable of more than she once believed. The woman who once felt helpless begins to feel stronger and more independent. During this journey, she also learns the importance of self-respect. She begins to understand that she deserves honesty, loyalty, and kindness in her relationships. The betrayal taught her a painful lesson, but it also helped her recognize her own worth. She learns that staying silent or accepting disrespect is not the only option. She has the power to choose a better life for herself. Gradually, the emotional pain begins to transform into wisdom. The experience teaches her about resilience, patience, and inner strength. She begins to see that even the most painful moments in life can lead to growth. What once looked like a tragedy slowly becomes a source of personal transformation. Her story becomes an example of how people can rise after being deeply hurt. Many individuals who hear about her experience may find inspiration in her courage. They may realize that betrayal does not have to define the rest of their lives. Instead, it can become the moment when they decide to rebuild themselves and create a stronger future. For the woman, the journey is not always easy. There are still days when memories of the betrayal return and bring sadness. Healing is rarely a straight path, but each day she becomes a little stronger and a little more confident. She learns to trust herself again, even if trusting others may take more time. In the end, the betrayal that once destroyed her sense of security becomes the event that changed her life in an unexpected way. It pushed her to grow, to rediscover her strength, and to build a future based on independence and self-respect. Instead of allowing the betrayal to destroy her completely, she transforms it into the starting point of a new chapter in her life. Her story reminds us that painful experiences can sometimes lead to powerful changes. When people face betrayal, loss, or disappointment, they often believe that their life is over. But sometimes these moments are not the end of the story. Instead, they are the beginning of a journey towards strength, courage, and a new understanding of oneself. The woman's life after betrayal becomes a story not only about pain, but also about resilience. She learns that even when trust is broken and dreams are shattered, it is still possible to rebuild life step by step. Through determination, love for her child, and belief in her own worth, she creates a future that is stronger than the past she lost. After the painful discovery of her husband's betrayal, the woman faces one of the most important choices of her life. Her heart is filled with many emotions. She feels anger, sadness, disappointment, and deep hurt. Anyone in her situation might feel the same way. When someone we trust breaks that trust, the pain can feel unbearable. In moments like these, many people think about revenge. They imagine confronting the person who hurt them, exposing them, or making them feel the same pain they caused. Revenge can sometimes seem like the easiest way to deal with anger. It feels like a way to get justice or to balance the pain. However, the woman in this story chooses a different path. At first, the idea of revenge may cross her mind. She may imagine shouting at her husband, telling everyone about his betrayal, or doing something that would hurt him emotionally. These thoughts are natural, because betrayal creates strong emotions. But as she spends time thinking quietly about her situation, she begins to realize something important. Revenge might bring a short moment of satisfaction, but it will not truly heal her pain. It will not rebuild her life, and it will not create a better future for her or her child. Instead, revenge might keep her trapped in anger and negativity. Slowly, she begins to understand that her energy is precious. Every person has limited emotional strength and time in life. If she spends all of that energy thinking about revenge, she will have nothing left to improve her own life. She starts to see that focusing on anger will only keep her connected to the painful situation. It will make the betrayal control her thoughts and her actions. She does not want her future to be defined by someone else's mistake. She wants to take control of her own life again. This realization becomes the beginning of a powerful change in her thinking. Instead of asking herself how she can hurt the person who betrayed her, she begins asking a different question. How can I make my life better? This question changes everything. It moves her attention away from the past and toward the future. The past cannot be changed, but the future is still full of possibilities. The woman makes a quiet but strong decision. She chooses strength over revenge. This decision does not mean that the pain disappears. It does not mean that she suddenly forgives everything or forgets what happened. The pain is still there, and healing will take time. But she decides that she will not allow anger to control her life. She chooses dignity instead. Dignity means maintaining self-respect, even during difficult times. It means refusing to behave in ways that could make the situation worse. By choosing dignity, the woman shows that she values herself. She understands that her character is more important than winning a fight or proving a point. She wants to handle the situation in a way that allows her to look at herself with pride. One of the most important reasons for her decision is her son. As a mother, she knows that children learn a great deal by watching the actions of their parents. Her son may not fully understand everything that has happened in the marriage, but he can see how his mother reacts to challenges. If she chooses anger, hatred, and revenge, he may learn that these are the normal ways to respond to pain. But if she shows patience, strength, and self-respect, he will learn valuable lessons about resilience. She wants her son to grow up understanding that life is not always fair, but people can still choose how they respond to difficulties. She wants him to see that being strong does not mean hurting others. Real strength often means controlling one's emotions and choosing a wiser path. By behaving with dignity, she teaches him an important lesson about character. With this decision, the woman begins to focus on rebuilding her life. Rebuilding is not something that happens quickly. It is a slow process that requires patience and determination. At first, even small steps feel difficult. She may start by organizing her daily routine, taking care of her responsibilities, and creating a stable environment for her child. These small actions help bring a sense of order back into her life. She also begins to focus on personal growth. Instead of spending hours thinking about the betrayal, she looks for ways to improve herself. She might read books, learn new skills, or return to interests she once enjoyed. These activities help her rediscover her identity as an individual, not just as someone who was hurt by another person. As time passes, she begins to see progress. Each day that she chooses peace instead of anger becomes a victory. Every step she takes toward independence increases her confidence. She realizes that success is one of the strongest responses to betrayal. When she builds a meaningful and fulfilling life, she proves that the betrayal did not destroy her. Success does not always mean becoming rich or famous. In her case, success may simply mean creating a stable and happy life for herself and her child. It may mean becoming emotionally stronger and more confident. It may mean achieving personal goals that once seemed impossible. Every improvement in her life becomes a sign that she is moving forward instead of remaining trapped in the past. During this journey, she learns an important truth about anger. Anger is a natural emotion, but holding on to it for too long can be harmful. When people constantly think about revenge, they continue to relive the pain again and again. The person who caused the hurt may move on with their life, but the angry person remains trapped in negative emotions. The woman understands that she deserves better than that. She deserves peace and happiness. Letting go of revenge does not mean that she accepts the betrayal as something good. It simply means that she refuses to allow it to control her life forever. She acknowledges the pain, learns from the experience, and then chooses to move forward. This approach requires emotional maturity. Emotional maturity means being able to understand and manage one's feelings in a healthy way. Many people react quickly when they are hurt, sometimes making decisions they later regret, but the woman takes time to think carefully. She considers the long-term effects of her actions. She understands that true strength is not shown by shouting or fighting, but by making wise decisions, even when emotions are strong. Another important part of her growth is learning to respect herself again. Betrayal can damage a person's self-esteem. She may wonder if she was not good enough, or if she somehow caused the situation. Over time, however, she begins to understand that another person's betrayal does not define her worth. She reminds herself that she deserves honesty, loyalty, and respect in relationships. This realization helps her rebuild her confidence. She starts to see herself as a capable and strong person who can create a positive future. She no longer sees herself only as a victim of betrayal. Instead, she sees herself as someone who has survived a difficult experience and grown stronger because of it. Her focus on dignity also improves her relationships with others. People around her notice her calm and thoughtful approach to the situation. Instead of spreading negativity, she spreads strength and determination. Friends, family members, and even colleagues may begin to admire her courage. Her story becomes an example of how people can handle painful situations with grace. As the months and years pass, the woman continues to grow. Her life slowly fills with new goals, new opportunities, and new experiences. She builds a future based on her own values and decisions. The betrayal that once seemed like the end of everything becomes only one chapter in a much larger story. Her son grows up watching her strength. He learns that challenges are a natural part of life, but people always have a choice in how they respond. He learns that revenge is not the only path, and that success, dignity, and resilience are more powerful responses to pain. Eventually, the woman reaches a place where the betrayal no longer controls her emotions. She remembers it as a difficult experience, but it no longer defines her identity. She has created a life that reflects her strength, patience, and determination. Choosing strength over revenge was not an easy decision, but it was the right one. By focusing on growth instead of anger, she transforms a painful experience into an opportunity for personal development. Her life becomes proof that people can rise above betrayal and create something positive from even the most difficult situations. In the end, her story teaches a powerful lesson. When someone is hurt deeply, the desire for revenge may feel strong, but revenge rarely leads to peace. True victory often comes from building a better life, maintaining dignity, and showing the world that pain does not have the power to destroy a strong and determined spirit. Through patience, resilience, and self-respect, the woman creates a future that is brighter and stronger than the past she left behind. Raising a child alone is one of the most difficult challenges a person can face. And for the woman in this story, it is a daily test of courage, patience, and strength. After discovering her husband's betrayal and deciding to move forward with dignity, she finds herself in a completely new reality, one where she is the sole caregiver, provider, and protector for her son. Suddenly, every responsibility that was once shared between two people now rests entirely on her shoulders. She must handle not only the emotional needs of her child, but also all the practical, financial, and social aspects of running a household on her own. The transition from being part of a couple to being a single mother is never easy, and she quickly realizes that the path ahead will be filled with obstacles, hardships, and moments of exhaustion. Yet she also discovers a reservoir of inner strength that she had never fully known before. One of her first struggles is financial pressure. Money, which once might have been a shared responsibility in the household, now becomes her sole concern. She thinks constantly about how she will pay the rent or mortgage, the utility bills, the groceries, and all the little expenses that add up every day. Beyond the daily necessities, she worries about her son's future. School fees, school supplies, clothes, extracurricular activities, and opportunities for growth all become her responsibility. These concerns weigh heavily on her mind. There are nights when she lies awake, calculating expenses, wondering whether she will have enough to cover everything, and thinking about how she can earn more without exhausting herself. Every financial decision feels critical, and she learns quickly that budgeting, planning, and careful prioritization are skills she must master immediately. Alongside financial worries, emotional stress becomes a constant companion. She is not only processing her own feelings of betrayal and heartbreak, but she must also manage her son's emotional needs. Children are perceptive and sensitive. They can sense when their parent is sad, anxious, or stressed. She works hard to hide her own pain so that her son does not feel burdened or frightened by the changes in their lives. At the same time, she becomes deeply attuned to his moods and needs, learning to comfort him when he is upset, encourage him when he is discouraged, and celebrate his small achievements. Balancing her own emotional healing while being the primary emotional support for her child is exhausting. Yet she understands that her son's sense of security depends on her strength. She realizes that she must create a home filled with love, stability, and hope, even when she herself feels tired or overwhelmed. The social challenges of single motherhood add another layer of difficulty. She faces judgment, questions, and sometimes criticism from people who do not understand her situation. Some relatives or acquaintances may ask why she is raising her child alone or make assumptions about her life choices. She encounters subtle and sometimes overt forms of social pressure, as if being a single mother makes her life any less meaningful or valuable. These judgments sting, but she learns to ignore them. She focuses on what truly matters, the well-being of her son and the life they are building together. She comes to understand that her worth is not defined by other people's opinions, but by her actions, integrity, and the love she gives to her child. Her daily routine becomes a delicate balancing act. She must work hard to provide financial stability while also being fully present as a parent. Some days require her to take on extra work or long hours just to make ends meet. She may find herself waking early to prepare for work and her child's day, managing meals, school runs, homework, and bedtime routines, all while handling her own responsibilities. There are times when exhaustion threatens to overwhelm her, but she never lets it show. She understands that her son depends on her calm, energy, and reassurance. In every small action, whether cooking a meal, helping with homework, or listening to his stories, she demonstrates care, patience, and love. She becomes both mother and father in his life, providing guidance, discipline, and protection, while also nurturing and supporting his dreams. Despite all the pressures, she discovers an extraordinary sense of resilience. Each challenge teaches her new skills and strengthens her character. She becomes resourceful, learning how to stretch her budget, manage time efficiently, and solve problems creatively. She grows more confident in her abilities to face difficulties alone. She understands that the struggles of single motherhood are not just obstacles. They are also opportunities for growth, for learning, and for teaching her son invaluable lessons about determination, perseverance, and independence. Her son's happiness and well-being remain her highest priority. She goes out of her way to shield him from the weight of their struggles. Even on the hardest days, she maintains a positive attitude in front of him. She finds joy in small moments, playing games, reading together, sharing meals, or talking about his day. These moments become the foundation of their bond and help her son feel loved, secure, and confident. Through her actions, he learns that life may be difficult, but strength, love, and determination can overcome even the most challenging circumstances. Single motherhood also teaches her patience and emotional intelligence. She learns that her own emotions cannot always be the focus. She must consider how her actions affect her child. She develops the ability to remain calm under pressure, to listen actively, and to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. These skills help her navigate not only parenting, but also work, social interactions, and personal challenges. She begins to see that strength is not just physical or financial, it is emotional, mental, and moral. Over time, she also discovers a community of support, whether through friends, family, or other single parents. Sharing experiences and learning from others in similar situations brings comfort, encouragement, and practical advice. These connections remind her that she is not alone in her journey and that it is okay to seek help when needed. Even with this support, she remains the central figure in her son's life, and the responsibility of single motherhood never fully disappears. Her struggles shape her into a stronger, more empathetic, and more capable person. She learns to value every small success, whether it is paying a bill on time, seeing her son smile after a long day, or managing a challenge without losing hope. Each achievement, no matter how minor it seems, reinforces her confidence and determination. She realizes that motherhood is not about perfection. It is about effort, love, consistency, and resilience. Financial, emotional, and social pressures continue to be part of her life, but she no longer sees them solely as burdens. They become tests of her endurance, teaching her problem-solving, patience, and the art of prioritizing what truly matters. She becomes an example of perseverance, showing that even when life seems unfair or overwhelming, it is possible to rise above difficulties and create a fulfilling life. In the end, the struggles of single motherhood do not define her life, they refine it. Each hardship, from financial worries to emotional exhaustion to social judgment, strengthens her resolve and shapes her character. She becomes a role model, not only for her son, but for anyone who witnesses her journey. She shows that love, determination, and resilience can overcome almost any challenge. By protecting her son from the weight of their struggles, she teaches him the value of courage, hard work, and hope. She demonstrates that while single motherhood is incredibly demanding, it is also an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. Through her journey, the woman proves that even in the face of immense difficulties, it is possible to create a stable, loving, and hopeful life. She may face sleepless nights, moments of doubt, and endless responsibilities, but she continues forward with unwavering dedication. Her story is a testament to the power of perseverance, the importance of love and presence in a child's life, and the extraordinary strength that single mothers develop through their daily struggles. She shows that even when life feels overwhelming, courage and commitment can create a future full of possibility and joy. After taking on the responsibilities of raising her son alone, the mother realizes that her role is not only about providing for his physical needs, but also about shaping his character, guiding his moral compass, and teaching him the values that will help him grow into a responsible, compassionate, and principled person. She understands that life will present her son with many choices, challenges, and opportunities, and she wants him to be equipped with the right tools to navigate them. From the earliest moments of his life, she focuses on instilling values such as honesty, integrity, hard work, respect, and responsibility, knowing that these qualities will serve as a foundation for his future. She teaches him that honesty is not just about telling the truth when asked, but about living truthfully and being trustworthy in every action. Through her own behavior, she demonstrates that honesty builds strong relationships and a good reputation, while deceit and dishonesty create problems that are often much harder to fix. Every day she points out situations in which being honest matters, whether it is admitting a mistake, being fair with friends, or handling money responsibly. She explains that shortcuts and dishonesty may seem easier in the short term, but they lead to long-term consequences that can harm not only oneself, but also others. Hard work becomes a central theme in her teachings. She shows her son through her actions that effort and dedication are essential to achieving meaningful goals. When she wakes early to work, manages household responsibilities, and supports him through school and extracurricular activities, she is modeling the value of perseverance. She emphasizes that success does not happen overnight or without effort. By sharing stories from her own life, her struggles to provide for them both, the long hours she works, and the challenges she has overcome, she illustrates that persistence, patience, and commitment are what allow people to achieve their dreams. She explains that there will be times when tasks seem difficult or progress feels slow, but pushing through those moments builds character and resilience. Through small chores, school projects, and personal challenges, she encourages her son to take responsibility for his efforts, showing him that consistent work and dedication produce results that shortcuts or laziness never can. Respect is another fundamental lesson she emphasizes constantly. She teaches him that respect is not something that is demanded, but something that is earned through kindness, consideration, and fairness. She demonstrates respect in her interactions with others, whether in casual conversations, professional environments, or interactions with friends and family. She encourages her son to treat everyone, regardless of age, social status, or differences, with dignity and courtesy. She explains that showing respect does not mean always agreeing with others, but listening, understanding different perspectives, and responding thoughtfully. In addition to respecting others, she teaches him the importance of self-respect, helping him understand that taking care of his body, mind, and emotions, as well as making principled choices, is a vital part of leading a good life. Responsibility becomes a guiding principle in their daily lives. She gives him age-appropriate tasks and encourages him to take ownership of his actions, whether it is completing homework on time, helping with small chores around the house, or taking care of personal belongings. She uses these opportunities to teach him that responsibility is both a duty and a source of pride. She explains that being responsible also means being accountable for mistakes, learning from them, and making better choices in the future. Through her guidance, he begins to understand that responsibility is connected to trustworthiness, independence, and reliability. She encourages him to plan ahead, consider consequences, and contribute positively to the household, helping him internalize the idea that responsible behavior benefits both oneself and the community. The lessons she teaches are not delivered as lectures alone. They are woven into daily life through example and experience. She shares stories from her own journey, explaining how loyalty, perseverance, and ethical behavior helped her overcome hardships. She shows him that integrity, doing the right thing, even when no one is watching, is more valuable than temporary gains achieved through dishonesty or selfishness. By demonstrating patience, fairness, and empathy in her own decisions, she provides a living example of how values guide real-life actions. She points out the effects of poor choices in her past, teaching him to recognize the importance of learning from mistakes rather than repeating them. Her focus on teaching values also includes helping him understand the consequences of his actions. When he behaves irresponsibly or makes poor choices, she explains the reasons calmly and clearly, ensuring he comprehends how actions have effects on himself and others. She encourages reflection and dialogue, guiding him to think critically about his behavior and to take corrective steps when needed. This approach nurtures his moral reasoning, allowing him to internalize principles rather than obeying rules blindly. She balances discipline with love, making it clear that guidance is rooted in care, not punishment. In addition, she emphasizes loyalty and the importance of keeping promises. Having experienced betrayal in her own life, she understands firsthand how deeply hurtful disloyalty can be. She teaches him that loyalty strengthens relationships, fosters trust, and builds a reputation of dependability. She uses her experiences to show that treating others fairly, keeping commitments, and supporting those who matter creates lasting bonds and a strong support network. At the same time, she explains that loyalty should not be blind. It must be guided by reason, respect, and the values she teaches, ensuring that he can discern between relationships that deserve his dedication and those that may harm him. Her experiences as a single mother shape every lesson she gives. The struggles she has faced, financial, emotional, and social, become real-life examples of how values operate in everyday life. She shows him that honesty, hard work, respect, and responsibility are not abstract ideas, but practical tools that help people navigate life's challenges successfully. She demonstrates that living by these principles can create stability, happiness, and respect from others. Even when circumstances are difficult, her son learns that character is more important than material wealth or superficial achievements, and that true success is measured by integrity, diligence, and how one treats others. Discipline is closely connected to these lessons. She teaches him that self-control, consistency, and adherence to moral and practical principles are essential for personal development. By establishing routines, setting clear expectations, and encouraging accountability, she helps him understand that discipline is not restrictive but liberating. Discipline allows him to achieve goals, maintain trust, and manage challenges effectively. She emphasizes that rules and boundaries exist not to limit freedom, but to guide actions in ways that lead to meaningful, responsible, and ethical living. She also fosters critical thinking and decision-making skills. While guiding him with strong values, she encourages him to ask questions, analyze situations, and make informed choices. She explains that values are not simply rules to follow blindly, but principles to apply thoughtfully in life. She helps him understand that sometimes situations are complex, and that discerning the right path requires judgment, reflection, and courage. Her teaching combines moral instruction with practical reasoning, preparing him to handle the challenges of adolescence and adulthood with wisdom and confidence. Over time, her son begins to internalize these lessons. Through repeated examples, guidance, and consistent modeling of behavior, he develops a strong moral foundation. He understands the importance of acting with integrity, being dependable, and treating others with fairness and compassion. He sees that life rewards dedication, effort, and ethical behavior, and that shortcuts or dishonesty bring short-term gains but long-term difficulties. He observes that respect, responsibility, and loyalty create trust, opportunities, and positive relationships, reinforcing the practical value of the lessons she imparts. The mother's dedication to teaching values and discipline also strengthens their relationship through consistent guidance, shared experiences, and open communication. A bond of trust, love, and mutual respect develops. Her son learns that he can turn to her for advice, support, and guidance, knowing that her guidance is rooted in both experience and love. He feels secure and confident because he knows that the principles she teaches are not only words, but also actions she demonstrates every day. In essence, the mother's focus on values and discipline transforms her son's upbringing into a comprehensive learning process about life itself. She teaches him to be honest, hardworking, respectful, responsible, and loyal, while also cultivating critical thinking, self-discipline, and empathy. Her guidance is shaped by her own life experiences, making every lesson realistic, meaningful, and impactful. By preparing him in this way, she ensures that he grows up not only capable of achieving personal success, but also of building strong, ethical, and respectful relationships in all areas of life. Her approach shows that values are not simply taught, but lived. Every choice she makes, every challenge she overcomes, and every interaction she has with her son is a practical lesson in integrity and character. Through patience, consistency, and love, she provides him with a moral compass that will guide him through life, helping him understand that true success comes from effort, honesty, respect, and responsibility. Her efforts ensure that he will grow into a man who is not only capable and successful, but also principled, compassionate, and aware of the impact of his actions on others, embodying the values she has worked tirelessly to instill. The son's journey to success begins with the deep inspiration he draws from his mother's sacrifices, dedication, and unwavering strength. From an early age, he watches her navigate a life full of challenges, financial pressures, emotional struggles, and social judgment, while always putting his needs first and maintaining her dignity and determination. These experiences shape his understanding of the world and teach him that hard work, resilience, and responsibility are the keys to achieving meaningful goals. He sees her waking up early to manage work and household responsibilities, ensuring that he has a safe, stable, and loving environment, and he realizes that her every action is an effort to give him opportunities she never had. Witnessing her struggles, he understands that life is not easy, and that success does not come to those who wait for it to arrive. It comes to those who are willing to work tirelessly, make sacrifices, and stay committed to their goals, even when faced with difficulties. The knowledge that his mother has given up so much for him creates a sense of duty and gratitude within him, a powerful motivation that guides every decision he makes. He begins to approach his education with seriousness, recognizing that his studies are the foundation of his future. He dedicates long hours to learning, completing homework, and improving his understanding of subjects. Knowing that effort and consistency will lead to progress, he avoids distractions and negative influences that could derail his path, realizing that every choice has consequences, and that maintaining focus is essential for long-term success. As he grows older, the lessons his mother taught him about honesty, responsibility, and perseverance resonate deeply in his daily life. He applies these principles not just in academics, but in his interactions with teachers, peers, and others in his community. He understands the value of integrity, treating others with respect, and honoring commitments, and he finds that these behaviors help him build trust, strong relationships, and a positive reputation. The son also internalizes the importance of resilience, learning that setbacks and failures are part of life, and that the way he responds to them will determine his ultimate achievements. He faces challenges in school and life, but instead of giving up or becoming frustrated, he approaches each problem as an opportunity to learn, grow, and demonstrate determination. The knowledge of his mother's sacrifices acts as a constant reminder that giving up is not an option, and that every moment of effort counts toward creating a better life for himself and for those he cares about. He gradually becomes disciplined, understanding that success is the result of consistent effort over time. He develops routines for studying, goal setting, and self-improvement, balancing schoolwork with extracurricular activities that expand his skills, knowledge, and character. He begins to take initiative in his learning, seeking additional resources, asking questions, and pushing himself beyond what is required. The values instilled by his mother, hard work, perseverance, respect, and responsibility, become guiding principles for his daily actions. He recognizes that shortcuts may offer temporary rewards, but only consistent dedication produces lasting results. With this mindset, he achieves academic excellence, gaining recognition from teachers and peers, while building a strong foundation for his future career. As he moves into adolescence and young adulthood, he continues to apply the lessons he learned at home to broader aspects of his life. He sets clear goals for his education and career, understanding that planning and focus are essential to reaching them. He avoids influences that could distract him from his objectives, choosing friends, mentors, and environments that encourage growth and positive behavior. His motivation is deeply personal. It stems not from external rewards or praise, but from the desire to honor his mother's sacrifices and to create opportunities that reflect her hard work and care. He understands that every achievement, no matter how small, is part of a larger journey toward independence, stability, and fulfillment. The son also develops a strong sense of responsibility toward others. He understands that success is not only about personal gain, but also about contributing to the well-being of his family and community. He becomes aware that the effort his mother invested in raising him must be matched by his own commitment to becoming a person of value and integrity. This understanding guides his choices in both personal and professional life, motivating him to act ethically, help others when possible, and maintain the standards of honesty and respect that were instilled in him from childhood. By internalizing these values, he not only secures his own success, but also strengthens the bonds of trust and mutual respect in the relationships he builds. Over time, his dedication produces tangible results. Academic achievements lead to scholarships, opportunities for higher education, and doors to promising careers. His work ethic and integrity set him apart in professional settings, earning him recognition, trust, and advancement. He begins to understand that the lessons his mother taught him, honesty, diligence, respect, perseverance, and responsibility, are not abstract ideals, but practical tools for building a meaningful and successful life. Each accomplishment reinforces his belief in the power of hard work and the importance of making thoughtful choices. The sense of purpose he derived from his mother's sacrifices continues to drive him, reminding him that success is not only personal, but also a way to honor the foundation she provided. The son's journey also demonstrates that inspiration from parental sacrifice can create lifelong motivation. He recognizes that his mother's struggles were not simply hardships, but lessons in resilience, discipline, and courage. Her example shows him that even in the face of adversity, one can build a life of dignity, stability, and achievement. By internalizing her values and applying them consistently, he not only achieves educational and professional success, but also grows into a well-rounded, principled individual capable of contributing positively to society. He faces challenges along the way, moments of doubt, stress, and obstacles that test his resolve. But the foundation of discipline, values, and motivation instilled by his mother allows him to persevere. Each challenge becomes an opportunity to reaffirm his commitment to his goals and to honor the sacrifices that enabled him to pursue them. He understands that success is a journey, not a destination, and that continued effort, learning, and ethical behavior are essential components of long-term achievement. Through this journey, the son develops self-confidence and independence. He learns to trust his abilities, make decisions wisely, and take responsibility for his actions. The combination of his mother's guidance and his own determination helps him create a path that is both successful and meaningful. He understands that true success is not only measured by academic or professional accomplishments, but also by the quality of one's character, relationships, and contributions to others. He becomes an example to peers and younger individuals, showing that dedication, ethical behavior, and respect for the sacrifices of others can lead to extraordinary outcomes. Ultimately, the son's achievements reflect the cumulative power of inspiration, guidance, and personal effort. By internalizing the lessons of his mother's life, he develops the discipline, focus, and resilience needed to overcome obstacles and seize opportunities. He remains motivated not just by personal ambition, but by gratitude, love, and respect for the woman who gave so much for him. Each step forward in his education, career, and personal development serves as a testament to her sacrifices and as a continuation of her legacy. His journey demonstrates that success is not simply the result of talent or luck, but the product of consistent effort, strong values, and mindful decision-making. By applying the principles of hard work, honesty, responsibility, respect, and perseverance, he transforms the opportunities provided by his mother's sacrifices into tangible accomplishments. He develops both the practical skills and the moral framework needed to build a fulfilling and impactful life, showing that the influence of a loving, principled parent can extend far beyond childhood and shape the trajectory of a person's entire future. As he continues on his journey, he remains focused on long-term goals, balancing ambition with ethics, determination with empathy, and personal achievement with gratitude. The son's story exemplifies how inspiration from parental sacrifice, combined with discipline and perseverance, can lead to extraordinary success through hard work, focus, and ethical conduct. He achieves educational, professional, and personal milestones while honoring the foundation his mother created. His life becomes a living proof that the lessons of love, resilience, and values passed down by a parent can guide a child toward both achievement and character, shaping him into a successful, principled, and compassionate individual capable of making a meaningful impact on the world. Years after the painful betrayal that shook her world, the mother finally experiences the long-awaited results of her unwavering strength, sacrifices, and resilience. And she comes to understand that the ultimate revenge against the betrayal she suffered is not through anger, confrontation, or hatred, but through the life she has built for herself and her son. A life filled with dignity, stability, love, and achievement, which stands as a living testament to her courage and determination. Throughout the years, she faced countless challenges as a single mother, managing both the financial and emotional responsibilities of raising a child alone, often working long hours to provide for their basic needs, worrying about school fees, medical care, and the future, yet never letting her son feel the weight of her struggles, and all the while instilling in him strong values such as honesty, hard work, respect, responsibility, and loyalty, using her own experiences as lessons that prepared him to face life with integrity and determination, so that he would grow up understanding that true success comes not from shortcuts or luck, but from consistent effort, dedication, and principled living. The son internalized these lessons deeply, using the sacrifices of his mother as motivation to stay focused on his goals, avoid negative influences, work diligently in school, and build a career that reflected not only his ambition, but also the values his mother taught him. And over time, his efforts bore fruit, leading him to academic achievements, professional success, and personal fulfillment. proving that the hardships they endured together were not in vain, and that perseverance, resilience, and ethical conduct can overcome even the most difficult beginnings, which allowed the mother to see her sacrifices reflected in a successful, independent, and principled young man who carried forward the lessons she had poured into him from childhood. Witnessing her son's accomplishments, she realizes that every moment of struggle, the sleepless nights, financial worries, emotional pain, social judgment, and the constant balancing of her own healing while nurturing her son was transformed into a foundation for a life of purpose and dignity, and that the greatest victory against betrayal is not revenge through retaliation, but the creation of a meaningful, successful, and happy life despite the challenges, which is a far more powerful and lasting triumph. The mother understands that the betrayal could have left her bitter, resentful, and defeated, but instead, she channeled her energy into building a life that was full of love, opportunities, and ethical guidance, proving that resilience, character, and determination can create outcomes that surpass any revenge imagined through anger or conflict. And she sees clearly that her choices, choosing strength over vengeance, focusing on personal growth, and raising her son with strong values, culminated in a life that exemplifies triumph over adversity. The ultimate revenge is the life that flourishes despite pain, and she experiences the deep satisfaction that comes from knowing her son is thriving, respected, and morally grounded, able to navigate the world with confidence, discipline, and empathy, and that the love, sacrifices, and guidance she provided created the conditions for him to succeed in ways that no act of retaliation could ever achieve. Through this, she realizes that true revenge is transformation, turning hurt and betrayal into motivation, strength, and an enduring legacy, showing that even the deepest wounds can give rise to resilience, opportunity, and success when approached with courage and determination, and that the power of love, consistent effort, and ethical living can rewrite the story of pain into one of achievement, respect, and happiness. She also sees that her life now stands as an example to others who may experience betrayal, proving that it is possible to rise above anger and despair, to choose constructive actions over destructive impulses, and to create a life that not only heals oneself, but also provides a future for the next generation, demonstrating that the most profound victory over betrayal is the one that cannot be diminished by resentment or revenge, because it is a life well lived, a son well raised, and happiness fully realized. In this way, the mother experiences a profound sense of peace and fulfillment, understanding that every hardship she endured and every lesson she taught her son contributed to the ultimate outcome, a life marked by dignity, success, and love, which becomes the true measure of triumph over the betrayal she once suffered. And she recognizes that this form of revenge, through success, happiness, and the thriving of the person she loves most, is enduring, meaningful, and far more powerful than any fleeting satisfaction that anger or retaliation could provide, showing that the combination of resilience, sacrifice, guidance, and ethical living can overcome even the deepest wounds and create a legacy that endures across generations. Her journey demonstrates to herself and the world that while betrayal can break trust and cause immense pain, it cannot destroy the human capacity for love, perseverance, and growth, and that by choosing strength, patience, and the well-being of her child, she has achieved the ultimate form of justice, not by harming anyone, but by creating a life filled with success, respect, happiness, and meaningful accomplishments that reflect the power of character and dedication. In observing her son's thriving life and the stability, joy, and fulfillment that now define their household, she comprehends that the deepest revenge lies not in conflict, but in transformation, and that her life, rebuilt through courage, love, and unwavering resilience, stands as a testament to the truth that people can rise above the most painful experiences, achieve extraordinary outcomes, and create happiness that is lasting, self-earned, and profoundly satisfying, proving that strength, love, and perseverance are far more powerful than any act of retribution, and that even the most difficult betrayals can be turned into triumphs that inspire future generations and demonstrate the enduring impact of integrity, sacrifice, and moral courage.